Yo entiendo, pero bueno. ¿Y cómo llegaste a esa conclusión? O sea, no... Bueno, pues si vas a estar allí, la verdad es que no seas crítica de los demás, aunque tú sepas que es lo correcto, no les digas nada. O sea, si se quiere David tomar el ácido muriático, que se lo tome. Si tu mamá se quiere salir y dejar todo por ningún lado, que se salga. O sea, no te toca a ti porque lo que consigues haciéndolo es peor que lo que consigues dejando las cosas como están. Y tú ahorita te conviene tener mucha tranquilidad. ¿Vale?
Hola, ya se había olvidado de nosotros.
A ver.
Hola maestra, ¿cómo está? Tuve las horas de mandarla el link.
¿Ya estás más tranquilo?
No hace falta que le mandes el link. Hola, la Dayan. Dayan.
¿Qué pasa, Lucho?
Hola, Luis.
¿Cómo andamos? Hoy va a ser una fase corta, ¿verdad? Tengo que hacerlo de filosofía.
Ay, bueno, yo también. Ay, yo también. ¿A qué hora se cierra?
A las 10 de la noche, entonces usted.
Sí.
Pero Dayan, yo paro. Lo quiero hacer hasta la tarde.
Pues a esa hora se cierra el link.
¿Quién era?
No, Oscar, acuérdate que se cierra.
Ah, sí, no, era como a las 2 de la tarde, perdón.
Ay, Peque.
Filosofía. No, vamos a controlar, ¿verdad?
Unos minutitos.
Eso está muy bien. Eso está muy bien.
Trini Rodríguez Ledesma. Buena mano. Sí, buena onda, ¿a poco no? ¿Ya conoces a Susi? Solo te está ignorando mucho.
No se escucha. Bueno, Oskis.
Ay, Peque, ¿qué te digo? Pues la verdad es que... Pues nada. ¿Qué suena? Bueno. Peque, te voy a dejar porque yo voy a entrar a clase a las 11:15, ¿ok? Te llamo en un ratito más, ¿va? Love you. Bye. Hello, bueno, ya somos 20, vamos a empezar. Entonces, Óscara. Muy bien, vamos a empezar, chicos. Hoy cortito porque dicen que le cambiamos el horario. Vamos a tener usualmente clases los miércoles a las 12. Entonces, bueno, vamos a ir empezando, ¿sale? Estábamos hablando sobre la Guerra Fría el otro día. Y estábamos diciendo, bueno, lo importante a recordar de todo esto es que los protagonistas de la Guerra Fría van a ser, obviamente, la de Estados Unidos de Norteamérica y la Unión Soviética, ¿verdad? Ready. So, vamos a abrir la presentación. It's correct. Only Wednesdays. Only Wednesdays. Yes, only Wednesdays. Right now, we're having double because last week we didn't have any, okay? So, hold on. Let me say welcome to Juan Pablo. Okay. Okay, guys. So, we were looking at this slide. We were saying, yes, sweetie. ¿No tiene internet? ¿Y no tiene datos? Ah, que no se preocupe. Yo voy a subir las presentaciones, las estoy grabando, entonces lo voy a poner todo en YouTube Live, por lo menos para que me escuchen. Entonces, quien no se, dile a Nat que si no se ha podido meter ahorita, que voy a habilitar el link para que ella lo pueda ver después, ¿ok? Sas, dile porfis. Okay, guys, so this was the last slide. Remember, it was the ideological struggle. And one of the things that we have to know by heart is the two protagonists of the Cold War is the USSR and the USA. The USSR is going to be representing the communist ideology and indoctrination. And somebody has their microphone on. Everybody mute, please. Everybody mute, please. Thank you so much. You're so very nice and kind. Okay, and on the other side, the USA is going to represent the ideologies for democracy. They supposedly are going to defend the right of all nations around the world to self-determine, that is, to be independent. Now, we know already that this is only like an apparent reason so that they can get their way, like they always do, and so that they can be very abusive with the little countries. All right, so we were talking about espionage, arms race, the nuclear escalation on both sides. This is the time, these are the years in which the USA gets to the moon, in which the first satellite goes out of space, you know, the Sputnik 1, Sputnik 2, and Sputnik 3. And how they're going to compete. We're going to have like a second arm peace. You know, the period of time in which all these superpowers in Europe were gearing up for war, and their main weapon was to be very, very big in what comes to military terms. And so the other one, the rival, was scared of attacking and making the first move because the detonation of a conflict would cost a lot of money, okay? So we saw this, and proxy. Proxy is a satellite. So all the wars, or mostly all the wars between the USSR and the USA are going to be fought indirectly. Okay, the Vietnam War is going to follow the same pattern. Korean War is going to follow the same thing, okay, the same sequence. First, they declare themselves communists. Then the United States outrageous and says that that's impossible because they're being dominated. And so they're going to go and provide some economic and military aid to that little poor country that is being imposed communism. And so they are moved there, they go there, they have a military intervention so that they can free that country from the communist rule and domination. And that's how the Korean War and the Vietnamese War are going to happen, okay? Then we saw and we mentioned what we're gonna call the Iron Curtain. Expect these in your exam, okay? What is the Iron Curtain? Is the nations of Eastern Europe that are going to fall under communist domination during the Cold War, okay? That's known as the Iron Curtain, blah, blah, blah. And finally, we talked about the Truman Doctrine. Harry S. Truman was the United States president during the end of World War II, and he is going to defend, okay, the right of resistance of communist takeovers in all Asia and especially in Greece and Turkey, okay? He's going to promote this because they talked about something that was called the domino effect. They said that if one country in Europe, in Asia, becomes communist, then as the domino pieces start falling and falling and falling, then one right after the other, then they said that under the domino effect, well, if one nation becomes communist, then the rest are gonna copycat, and they're going to become communist after that nation, and it's going to replicate like a domino effect. Okay, one after the other, one piece after the other, and after the other, and after the other. All right, and then we have another new concept right now, and it's called the Marshall Plan. Okay, you need to copy this because one of the activities of this third partial is for you to upload all your notes in Platform. Okay, I'm gonna open a space and you have to put the pictures there. So the Marshall Plan in 1948 is very important. It's named under General Marshall, which was one of the main commanders in chief during the World War II on the American side, and he is going to propose a European recovery program because you know that the United States was providing arms and munitions and all the resources that Europe needed, Great Britain, namely France and Russia, so that they can fight Germany. So once Germany was defeated, we needed a European recovery program because if these countries do not get back on their feet, they're not going to generate any money. They're poor countries, therefore they're not going to be able to pay the credit that they got from the United States during World War II, during the years of the war. So it's very convenient for United States to support the recovery of all Europe in infrastructure, roads, technological systems, etc. Okay, it's a total reconstruction. Number two, this is the Secretary of State, George Marshall. As I told you, is a very high military official during World War II, and he's going to be in charge of the Secretary of State in this after-war period. Number three, the U.S. should provide aid to all European nations that need it. This move is not against any country or doctrine, but against hunger, poverty, desperation, and chaos. And obviously the personal interests of the United States so that they can get their money back. Okay, and number four, 12.5 billion of US aid to Western Europe extends to Eastern Europe and the USSR, but this was rejected. Obviously, because of pride in the world, we're gonna have a rejection. They don't want any help, obviously, because they are enemies right now. So you don't want any help from your enemies. All right. And this is Germany. Like we saw, we're going to divide Germany into West Germany and East Germany. Of course, of course. Sí, el Iron Curtain are all the countries of Eastern Europe that are going to fall under communist domination. That's what we're going to call the Iron Curtain. Es correcto. It's correct. Es como la línea, por eso le llamaron la cortina de hierro. Cuando hablamos de la cortina de hierro, pues es la línea, pero también son todos esos países que van a caer dentro de esa línea. Hoy no. A ver. The Iron Curtain is, namely, all the countries of Eastern Europe that are going to fall under communist domination. Se los voy a poner, espérense, se los voy a poner aquí, ¿ok? No, tranquilos, tranquilos. The Iron Curtain is all European, no, ¿qué dijimos? Eastern European countries that fall under communist domination after World War II or during the Cold War. During the Cold War. There you go, sweetie. No hagas caso a estas niñas. Listo. ¿Y ahora qué? Vamos a la acá. Sí. Sí, todo esto lo van a tener. Okay, let's talk about post-war Germany, okay? This weekend you're going to have your first activity and it's going to be about exactly this division, okay? So as you know, we're going to have the division of Germany into two parts, west and east. And these blue lines are the air corridor. Now, during the first beginning of the Cold War, it was this was monitored. Somebody was in charge, the communist regime was in charge of monitoring all the communication, mailing service. Basically, we are not getting still, not yet, to this complete separation. In the beginning, it was supposed to be only a political division, and they were supposed to go back and forth with a lot of control. But because of the ideologization process, the communist people became very, very jealous of their population, and they wanted to make them very neutral and very immune to the contamination of any democratic idea. Then the air corridor and the sharing of ideas, books, anything, movies, TV, music, stopped. And in a very abrupt way, okay? A complete, absolute, and abrupt way. So we're gonna have these. There are a lot of movies, tons of movies that talk about this process. And I'm just gonna send you in the homework for this weekend, this little video about the blockade, the Berlin blockade, the Berlin air raid. And you're gonna have to answer some questions having watched a video, okay? So this is the blockade that we're gonna see during 1948 and 1949. This is what your homework is gonna be about, all right? And well, we talked about this, we mentioned it. Is the Soviet Union exploded its first A-bomb in 1949. Now there were two nuclear superpowers. This is very, very dangerous because we not only have one nation right now in possession of nuclear missiles, but now we have two. And that's gonna bring in the scenario another element, the arms race. Okay, race, acuérdate, es carrera, arms, weapons. So es como una carrera armamenticia. ¿Sí? Una carrera armamenticia. Entonces, Russia would come up with some new invention in what refers to nuclear weaponry, and then the United States was coming up with another satellite, and then the Russians would get back at them by getting a new missile, and then the other ones and the other ones. What were the innovations? Were the range, like if Russia would come up with a missile that would be short range, let's say, I'm just getting numbers off the top of my head, but let's say for an example, 100 kilometers, okay, one missile that could go 100 kilometers and hit its target, then the United States would come up with another missile that would be medium range, that is 150 kilometers and hitting their target. And then the Russians would get back at them by getting another missile with 200 kilometers range and hitting their target. So slowly the technological advancements were competing each other, and that's how we got a lot of development in what comes to spatial matters and nuclear matters. Right? And another element that is very, very important during this period of time, the Cold War, is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. By its initials in English, we're going to call NATO. En español, la OTAN. ¿Qué será la OTAN? Organización del Tratado Atlántico Norte. OTAN. OTAN in español, NATO in English, okay? And that's how we're going to have the spreading of all these, the two blocks. So these nations start signing and they line up under United States. Ellos son como su barrio, ¿no? El barrio que los respalda. So they're going to be on the United States side. And the Russians are going to answer by signing the Warsaw Pact. So one is going to be in 1949 and the other one is going to be in 1955. What do you have to memorize for the exam? The year and the name of the treaty, okay? So the Allies, what we know as the Allies in the Second World War, are going to sign NATO. I do not want you, I am not requiring you to know all the countries, and the Russians are going to be the Warsaw Pact, okay? USSR, Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. And well, we're going to have after Joseph Stalin dies, okay? Here we have, let's see, let's look for Joseph Stalin timeline. So when Joseph Stalin ends his puny life, okay, let's look at this one. Okay, in 1953, ay, ¿por qué se ve tan chiquito? ¿Qué ondis? Oh, que la canción no pueden ponerme una línea de tiempo normal. Aquí, ok. Entonces, well, 1953, okay? Look, this is the USSR timeline. So in 1953, Stalin's death. You see, we have Stalin's death. And from 1955 to 1964, we have the another premier. The premier is like the prime minister in Great Britain or the chancellor in Germany. So here after Stalin's death, we're going to have like a little modification of their constitution, and we're going to have a premier, okay? So the premier, the prime minister, is going to be Khrushchev, Nikita Khrushchev, like this. This guy, so handsome. Okay. So he's going to be totally pro a de-Stalinization program. So he's going to relax a little on all these censorship and authoritarian policies and measures. He's against that, okay? And he's going to say, this is a quote from him, about the capitalist state, it doesn't depend on you whether the Soviet Union exists. If you don't like us, don't accept our invitations and don't invite us to come to see you. Whether you like it or not, history is on our side. Why did the Premier Nikita Khrushchev feel this way? He's feeling this way because, and look at what says in red letters, we will bury you. A lot of countries were turning communist. It was actually happening. The domino effect was actually happening. And so well, they were very confident on the ideology and they kept on proposing it to other countries because it seemed like it worked. If you applied it in a very conservative way, communism was working and people were seeing an upside to this ideology and type of government as opposed to the capitalist democratic regimes. So Nikita Khrushchev was very confident on his ideology and he was opposing directly in a confrontational manner the United States of America and all the democratic powers that existed back in the days, okay? He was even able to say, we will bury you. That means communism is going to bury capitalism. All right? If you don't like us, do not come to see us. If you don't like us, do not invite us to your parties. Okay? We are going to bury you. We're going to finish with you. ¿Qué tal, cuate? Ok. Y al final, pues bueno, ¿no? ¿Quién enterró a quién? Vamos a pasarnos un poquito todo esto. Ok. Y basically, sí, quería terminar esa parte, por eso los cité el día de hoy, sí, quería terminar esa parte y luego les voy a asignar esa tarea, ¿vale? Entonces yo les voy a mandar en Moodle, les voy a poner un artículo, bueno, no, les voy a poner un video mejor sobre el air rate, ¿sí? The Berlin Air Rate. Un chorro, todo lo que pasó. Entonces, no en the World War II, en the Cold War. Entonces, vamos a hacer esa actividad. Les voy a poner una serie de preguntas. Ustedes me las van a contestar. Lo voy a poner a manera de foro de opinión, ¿sale? Para que me lo contesten ahí. I want extend answers, please. That's very, very important. And, well, creo que eso sería lo que yo quería terminar para el día de hoy, chavos, porque ayer no alcancé, ¿sale? Entonces, ¿tienen alguna pregunta hasta ahí? ¿No? ¿Sí? Eso es lo único que nos faltó de la clase pasada y por eso quería citarlos para terminar ese chiquitirrino y porque la semana pasada tampoco tuvimos, entonces para no atrasarnos más. Entonces, este fin de semana va la primera actividad y pues así ya estamos todos catched up, ¿ok? Ya estamos en tiempo y forma. ¿Sale? ¿Sale? Pues nada, muchísimas gracias por haber participado y siempre es un gustazo verlos a todos y nos vemos. Uh-huh.